When you put God first, something shifts inside you. You stop living as if everything depends on you. You wake up with a new focus. Your heart is no longer overwhelmed by what you lack because it is anchored in who God is. You begin to see your life through His eyes. You start to realize that every day is a gift, every breath is grace, and every challenge is an opportunity for growth. Your burdens feel lighter, not because they disappear, but because you know God is carrying them with you. Your worries lose their grip because you trust in a wisdom far greater than your own. Fear no longer controls your choices because your faith becomes your compass. You rise each day not driven by anxiety, but fueled by purpose. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start declaring, "God is with me, I cannot fail." Putting God first gives you courage to face what you fear most. It empowers you to speak with kindness even when others are harsh. It gives you patience when life feels delayed. It gives you discipline when your body wants to quit. When God is first, you gain clarity. Your mind stops running in circles because you know where your true north lies. You no longer waste time comparing your journey with others. You understand that God's timing for your life is perfect. You stop questioning your worth because you know you are loved beyond measure. You walk into each room with quiet strength because you know the one who created the universe walks beside you. Your prayers become deeper, not just asking for things but seeking His presence. You find fulfillment not in what you gain but in who you become. Because when God is first, you live with a deeper meaning. You begin to see people differently. Instead of judging their flaws, you see their wounds. Instead of competing with them, you serve them. Instead of withholding love, you give love freely because you know love never runs out when it flows from God. You forgive quicker because you understand how deeply you have been forgiven. You give without fear because you know God is your provider. You dream without limits because you know nothing is impossible for Him. Your soul stops craving recognition from others because you are secure in the approval of your Creator. You start walking in alignment with your calling. You live each day with integrity, honor, and purpose. You wake up not to chase your own glory but to reflect His light. And when you lay down at night, your soul rests in peace, knowing you walked in obedience to what truly matters. Putting God first does not mean life becomes easy. It means life becomes meaningful. It means you live with an unbreakable strength, a peace that surpasses understanding, and a joy that circumstances cannot steal. It means you stop surviving and start truly living. Because when God is first, your life becomes a powerful testimony of faith, hope, and unstoppable courage. Keep Him first, always. When you put God first, you begin to live with a different kind of confidence. This is not arrogance rooted in your own ability, but unshakable trust in His power working through you. You walk through challenges with a quiet assurance because you know nothing can stand against the will of God. You stop feeling small in the face of obstacles because you know the one who commands mountains. You stop fearing rejection because you know you are already fully accepted. You stop chasing perfection because you rest in the truth that God's grace is sufficient. Each day becomes an opportunity to honor Him with your thoughts, words, and actions. Every moment becomes sacred because you are aware of His presence guiding you. Even in moments of weakness, you feel strong because His Spirit gives you courage to keep going. You are no longer defined by your past mistakes or future worries. You are defined by His love, His purpose, and His promises. Putting God first gives your life divine alignment. It brings order to your mind, clarity to your vision, and stability to your emotions. The fears that used to control you lose their power because your heart is anchored in His truth. The stress that used to overwhelm you fades because you trust in His provision. You begin to live in gratitude rather than greed. You become generous not just with money but with love, kindness, patience, and understanding. You speak words that build others because you know life and death are in the power of the tongue. You act with wisdom because you seek His guidance before making decisions. You carry yourself with dignity because you know you are royalty in His kingdom. You forgive without conditions because your heart is filled with divine compassion. You love without fear of loss because God is the source of your love. When God is first, you realize your battles are not yours to fight alone. You understand that victory is not in striving harder, but in surrendering deeper. You find your strength not in self-reliance, but in dependence on Him. You stop wasting time worrying about things beyond your control because you trust in His sovereignty. Your faith becomes your weapon, your prayers become your shield, your worship becomes your breakthrough. Life may still test you, but you stand unshaken because your foundation is built on the rock. You find hope in hopeless situations. You see possibilities where others see dead ends. You rise above criticism because you live to please God, not people. Your life begins to radiate light in dark places. Your words become a balm for broken souls. Your presence carries peace because the Prince of Peace dwells within you. Putting God first transforms you from the inside out. It turns fear into faith, worry into worship, and striving into surrender. It empowers you to walk boldly into each day, knowing that no matter what happens, you are held, guided, loved, and purposed by the God who created the heavens and the earth. Keep Him first, and watch your life become a living testimony of unbreakable strength and unstoppable purpose. Have you ever felt like something is missing in your life, even when everything seems to be going well? You wake up, go through your routine, work hard, achieve goals, and yet there is a silent emptiness that refuses to leave. It whispers to you late at night, when the noise of the world fades and you're left alone with your thoughts. It asks you if this is all there is. You wonder why, despite your efforts, you still feel restless, anxious, and unsatisfied. Deep inside, you know there is a place in your heart that nothing in this world has been able to fill. Not success, not relationships, not money, not even the love and praise of people, because that place was never meant for any of these things. That place was created for God alone. Every single day you place something on the throne of your life. For many, it's their career. For some, it's their desire to be loved. For others, it's fear, insecurity, or the relentless need to prove their worth. But when you place anything above God, life loses its clarity. You may gain everything you ever wanted and still feel empty, because your soul is not designed to be ruled by achievements or possessions. Your soul is designed to be ruled by God. That is why, when you put Him first, everything changes. The emptiness fades because He fills it with His peace. The fear dissolves because you realize He is your protector. The anxiety subsides because you trust in His timing and plan. You stop feeling lost because you finally know who you belong to and where your life is anchored. Putting God first does not mean you abandon your dreams or responsibilities. It means you surrender your need to control outcomes and invite Him to lead every part of your life. When God sits on the throne of your heart, you gain unshakable clarity about your purpose. You stop living in confusion because His wisdom guides your steps. You stop feeling exhausted by endless striving because His strength sustains you. You start living each day with a sense of quiet confidence, knowing you are deeply loved and completely seen. You start finding joy in moments that used to feel ordinary because His presence transforms everything. There is no greater reward than living in alignment with the One who created you. When God is first, your heart becomes light, your mind becomes clear, and your soul becomes peaceful. You stop searching for worth in temporary things because you are anchored in eternal love. This is why you must stay until the end of this message, because today could be the day your entire life shifts from emptiness to fulfillment, from confusion to purpose, from fear to unshakable peace. Putting God first is not just a choice. It is the foundation for a life of true meaning, strength, and unstoppable courage. Stay here, because your soul is ready to rise into its highest purpose. It begins the moment you decide to put God first. Great, let me know whenever you're ready to continue writing the next sections for this script, your upcoming outlines for today, or structured plans for your recording and editing queue this week. I'm here to maintain your momentum with precision and deep emotional power in every script you release. When you decide to put God first, something awakens within you that the world can never give. You begin to feel a strength that rises beyond your understanding. You find yourself facing problems with a calmness you never knew you had. You start to realize that your peace no longer depends on what happens around you, but on who lives within you. Your life takes on a new meaning. Your mind gains clarity, no longer clouded by fear or confusion. Your heart begins to heal from wounds you thought would never close. You feel a quiet confidence growing inside you because you finally understand that you are not walking alone. Every step is guided by divine wisdom. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow deeper in faith and stronger in purpose. You start to notice the little things. You wake up grateful for breath in your lungs. You see beauty in places you once overlooked. You find joy in the silence where before there was only restlessness. Your prayers shift from desperate pleas to quiet conversations of trust. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is God teaching me through this?" Your perspective changes because your focus has changed. You are no longer consumed by what you lack because you are anchored in what you have: God's presence, God's promises, God's unfailing love. You walk through each day aware that His favor surrounds you like a shield. You stop fearing the future because you know the one who holds it. When you put God first, your relationships begin to change. You become more patient with others because you know how patient God has been with you. You speak words that uplift instead of words that tear down. You love without expecting anything in return because you are filled with a love that never runs out. You forgive quickly because you understand how deeply you have been forgiven. You let go of bitterness because you realize it poisons your soul. You become a vessel of peace in every place you enter. People start to see something different in you, not because you are trying to impress them, but because you are reflecting God's light. Putting God first creates a foundation that nothing can destroy. No storm can wash it away. No disappointment can shake it. No betrayal can break it, because your life is rooted in a strength far greater than anything this world can offer. Your days gain purpose beyond survival. Your nights find rest beyond sleep. Your mind finds clarity beyond human logic. Your spirit finds peace beyond understanding. You begin to live boldly, love deeply, and walk humbly. Everything about you starts to align with your highest calling. You no longer live by fear but by faith. You no longer chase validation because you are already fully known and fully loved. When you put God first, your life becomes a living example of hope, faith, strength, and purpose. This is the power of choosing Him above all else. When you truly put God first, your priorities realign with unbreakable clarity. The things that once consumed your thoughts no longer hold the same weight. You stop chasing the approval of people because you are anchored in the approval of your Creator. You stop exhausting yourself trying to control what you cannot control because you trust that God is sovereign over every detail. You begin to live with a deep sense of peace that silences the noise of anxiety. Your days feel lighter, not because the problems disappear, but because you carry them differently. You hand over your burdens with full trust, knowing that God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. You no longer feel alone in your battles because you know His presence goes before you, behind you, and within you. You start to see purpose even in pain. You realize every setback carries a lesson. Every delay hides divine protection. Every disappointment redirects you closer to God's perfect plan. Your prayers become powerful because they no longer come from a place of fear, but from a place of faith. You begin to ask boldly, seek deeply, and knock persistently, knowing your Father hears you. You stop holding back your dreams in fear of failure because you understand that if God gave you the vision, He will also provide the provision. Your courage grows stronger each day because it is rooted in His promises. Your self-worth is no longer defined by what you do but by who you are in Him. This truth frees you from striving for identity and empowers you to walk confidently in your purpose. When you put God first, your decisions become guided by wisdom, not by pressure. You wait when He says wait, you move when He says move, and you remain still when He asks you to trust. You stop panicking in seasons of uncertainty because you know He is working behind the scenes in ways you cannot yet see. You begin to carry yourself with quiet dignity, not because you think you are better, but because you know you are deeply loved. You wake up each morning with a fresh sense of hope, even if yesterday felt heavy. You walk into each day expecting miracles, not because of who you are, but because of who He is. You let go of what you cannot change and focus on becoming who He created you to be. You stop shrinking yourself to make others comfortable and start shining with the confidence that comes from knowing your life has divine purpose. Putting God first is not a one-time choice. It is a daily surrender, a moment-to-moment decision to let Him lead your thoughts, guide your actions, and shape your heart. It is a powerful declaration that you will no longer be ruled by fear, insecurity, or doubt. You will be ruled by faith, anchored in love, and driven by purpose. Because when God is first, everything else falls into place exactly as it should. This is the power of choosing Him above all else every single day. When God becomes the center of your life, you begin to live with a power that cannot be broken by circumstances. You wake up each morning with a renewed sense of purpose, knowing that your life is part of something far greater than your own plans. You no longer waste your days living in regret over the past or fear of the future, because you are anchored in the truth that God holds all your days. You start seeing your struggles differently. Instead of feeling defeated by them, you see them as divine training grounds where your faith grows stronger, your character deepens, and your resilience is refined. You no longer ask why life is so hard, but instead ask for the strength to overcome whatever comes your way. Your prayers shift from desperation to gratitude. Even when you have not yet seen the answer, you thank God because you trust that He is working all things together for your good. When God is first, your confidence is no longer rooted in your own ability, but in His unchanging nature. You become bold in your dreams because you know He is the one who placed them in your heart. You become unafraid to take risks when He calls you to move because you trust that He will guide your steps. You start to see rejection as His protection and closed doors as divine redirection. You no longer depend on temporary happiness because you are rooted in eternal joy. You no longer feel empty because your soul is constantly being filled by His presence. You stop trying to fix everything in your own strength because you trust His timing and His ways, even when they do not make sense to you. Putting God first changes how you treat people. You begin to love them not because they deserve it, but because you are overflowing with a love that comes from Him. You listen to understand rather than to respond. You speak words that heal rather than words that hurt. You forgive quickly because holding on to anger only weighs down your spirit. You become a peacemaker in a world full of division. Your life becomes a light that guides others towards hope and faith. You start living generously, giving your time, love, patience, and resources without fear of lack because you know God is your provider. You carry yourself with humility, understanding that everything you have is by His grace alone. When God is first, your life becomes unshakable. Storms may come, but your foundation remains strong. Trials may rise, but your faith stands firm. Darkness may surround you, but your light never dims. You walk with courage, live with purpose, and speak with authority. You begin to live in freedom from fear, doubt, and insecurity because you know you are deeply loved, fully known, and completely protected. This is the power of putting God first. It transforms every part of your life, every corner of your heart, and every step of your journey. It gives you a strength the world cannot give and a peace it can never take away. Keep Him first, and you will see your life rise beyond anything you ever imagined possible.